Hello, everybody. It's Roger Durling, Executive Director of the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, and we're going to be discussing the film United States versus Billie Holiday. It is Academy Award nominated Lee Daniels' work, and the Grammy nominated singer Andra Day makes her acting debut as Billie Holiday. She does all the singing herself. And her co-star is Trevante Rhodes, who plays Jimmy, and you guys will remember him from Moonlight. So here's the conversation we had.
Lee, I'm blown away by the world that you have created. Um, in particular, I want to start with the tour de force sequence in which you take us inside her mind and it leads up to her singing Strange Fruit, and it's a coup de théâtre, with the doors opening, and it's highly impressionistic sequence. Can you tell us about the journey of that sequence?
Mhm. It started before when a moment before when Jimmy Fletcher's character was told to get high.
Correct.
So it really I was sort of prepping you for that part of it. So Jimmy Fletcher gets high, and I wanted you to understand what it was like. I wanted to equate the get high to the lynching, what it was like to experience heroin, and then also what it was like, the atrocities of what that craziness was also like to feel, to experience a lynching. So we start with Jimmy getting high, and what is that like for the first time? So we see this girl now talking to him, not Billie Holiday, but young Billie Holiday, talking to him. Please, I'm talking, can y'all not, Billie Holiday and him. And so you see this sort of, it's a oneer through the, from the time that he's walking up the stairs, straight through him coming back to reality. And then we go from there to
the lynching.
To lynching. And then there's a moment where we stop. She gets off the bus, and then we start again. And so again, it was about, again, that was a oneer, and it was about, what is it like to see a lynching? What is it like to shoot up heroin? I wanted the audience to experience that, what that crazy must have felt like in a psychedelic. Are you high? Is she high? What's happening here? So that's sort of what I was trying to get at with both sequences.
Trevante, was it a very challenging filming, because there's people, it is one take and there's people entering from one doors and there's all this choreography happening. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was just interesting. So that was just exciting to just be a part of something where you had to be on, you had to be there, and you had to be present. And if you didn't, then you let the team down. So it was just a fun experience.
Hey, Trevante, that was the first time. We used the first take because everybody was so in their emotions the first take.
Yeah.
And it was so. I showed them the lynching. They were and then I put them in their rooms, and the actors were in place, and we jumped, and if one person messed up, it was a wrap, because it was a oneer. So it was pretty terrifying. It was terrifying, but I knew in my head that's what I wanted. I wanted to make people feel how crazy she was and what it took for her to sing that song.
Mm-hmm.
What the courage it took for her to sing that song. And everybody was in there, Trevante the Jimmy Fletcher character couldn't console her. And then she went to her friends in the kitchen and they couldn't console her. And then in pops her drug dealer, who was ready to come in. And then Jimmy was in the back ready to save her again. And so she couldn't do drugs. And so she just was forced to sing the song.
How essential was it for you to show us? I mean, you don't shy away from showing us the hard reality of what she's going through, the drugs, etc. I mean, how essential was that for you?
It was essential because I've never seen a film where I understood. I wanted the audience member, Roger, to understand what drug addiction really was like. When she first does that shoot up and I say quiet and you can hear a pin drop after that needle hits her arm, it's almost like this euphoric sort of, wait a minute, now I understand, I think, what this whole drug experience is like. It's euphoria. And so that was what I was trying to get at.
Well, it's I mean, I described that as a tour de force, is we're swept up so emotionally into that experience. It's probably one of the most memorable scenes of this year. It's terrific. Trevante, I read that you wanted to work with Lee Daniels for a while, looking for a project. Can you tell us about working with great Lee Daniels?
He is
great.
Actually, his sister Leah, when I first got to LA, she was one of the 2 casting directors who really kept bringing me back in. So it just art, it was pretty cool. And so just getting to talk to Lee initially was just a good experience. And we talked about a few things. And so it was really just trying to find whatever that thing could be. And then obviously Billie ended up being that thing. So it was just, it just felt really good to get in a space with someone who is that caliber of talent and to learn from them.
Let me tell you, it's interesting. My sister said, you got to meet him. He's one of us. And there are very few actors that she says, he's regular people. He's one of us. And then and she knows what I look for. I look for regular. I look for just straight up, honest, salt of the earth, people that are good people to work. Because you can work with actors, but then you can work. I like working with good people. And so when she said he's fam, she was correct.
Lee, I've read the book Chasing the Scream in 2015, which you have adapted a section of the book for your film. Can you tell us why did you need to tell the story, which is so powerful?
Because they took her down. They took her down. And the government, up until I was speaking to the author of that, Johan, and he did so much research. And up until 3 or 4 years ago, there was a plaque in their museum, in the FDA museum in Washington, D.C., where there's a picture of Billie Holiday using her as an example of how the system works. So I think that they wanted to put it in our heads that and they succeeded. That the song was not, that she was a drug addict, that she was, this degenerate, and yet a great artist. Well, she was more than a great artist. She sang a song for a reason. She sang the song because she knew that Black people were being lynched, and she was defiant. And whether or not and this is one of the reasons why I did the film too, is when you think of civil rights leaders, one thinks of immediately Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. We think of Gandhi, but you don't think of people that are ordinary. Leaders come that are flawed. Civil rights leaders come in all, they're women, they're heroes that we don't ever hear about. And her story has been buried. And I really wanted to, and Diana Ross, that was the reason why I got into this business too. Lady Sings the Blues. Trevante, we were talking about Lady Sings the Blues before you came on.
Yeah.
And hey, Andra, how you doing?
Hi.
Beautiful. We were talking
Hi,
about Lady Sings the Blues, and Roger had saw that movie when he was a young guy, and I was telling him our Lady Sings the Blues story, that it changed my life, that was the reason that I'm doing film now. Everything about that as a teenager I wanted to do. I wanted to make people feel the way I felt, and so it's irony that 45 years later that here we are doing it. And when we got together, these two, when they first met, I think that the reason why we have the chemistry that they have on screen is because the three of us sat and watched Lady Sings the Blues together.
Oh,
And
wow.
they saw the importance of that chemistry. You can't fake that chemistry. That's not acting. You have to, and they knew immediately that you had to be that. So yeah.
Yeah. Welcome, Andra.
I'm so sorry.
No. Hey, I forgive you because your performance, you are so incredible in this. This is probably going to go down in history as one of the greatest debuts in cinema.
Thank you so much.
And we were talking earlier to the sequence leading up to you singing A Strange Fruit, which it's quite a tour de force moment. Can you tell us about singing Strange Fruit and how that felt?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Singing Strange Fruit. I mean, I think anytime I've sung it before, there was a difference, right? I've sung it before just as an artist and as a fan of Billie, and we did something for the Equal Justice Initiative, and so that was the first time I really sang it and performed it. But to sing it as her and to sing it in that headspace of all of that sort of trauma, but all of that fighting, because she really had a fighter's spirit, and it was I don't know how to explain it. It was painful, but it really just sort of put you in a really quiet place of reflection for me as well too. I think that one of the things I mentioned before was that it was challenging for multiple reasons. There's the social aspect of it, but what was more painful for me was that it wasn't enough for me to only draw on what we've been dealing as a community for centuries and what we're still dealing with. I had to pull from personal trauma and pain as well too, and that really let me know that as a community, we're a little too familiar with this type of loss and this type of devastation, and so it was heartbreaking on two fronts, to sort of reconcile that with myself, and then also to just face it and to face that how much we've really dealt with and the damage that we've seen it do generations and generations on into the future. And so, it was heavy, but it was also really fulfilling because she's a fighter and she's triumphant.
And Lee, can you tell us about casting Andra and what told you that this was your Billie Holiday?
Look at her.
And I've heard her and I've seen her. She's amazing.
I've said this before. She wasn't my first choice or my second choice or my third choice. And she didn't even want to do it. When I met with her, she was even in question about whether she wanted to do it. I don't like being told what to do by the people. Like I like to go with the spirit. So my manager Simone had told me about it. It's just so many people, are agents and just friends and stuff, had told me about it. And Tasha Smith, our acting coach friend, told. And I was like, all right, when I get there, And I sat with her, and then I saw her. I saw the normalcy. I saw the artist. I saw that she didn't know whether she could do it herself. I saw that she was questioning herself. And then I found myself talking her into it. I was like, wait a minute, what's wrong with this picture? Talking her into it. So we got her to audition, and then the acting coach slid me this tape recorded her getting into character, not the audition, but her tape recording her process, and it was Billie. it was like, you know, it was Billie. So I knew that she was not only in the pocket, but ready to go to war to tell the story, and terrified. Look, we're all terrified doing this. All of us were terrified. I think that that's the great part about working with both of these incredible actors. They are committed. They know the truth. They know the work. They appreciate the work. They know that it's never good enough. And that's rare. And with working with actors, they ain't checking a box. Like, did we get this done? They're workers. I mean, they are thespians is what they are.
Mm-hmm. I gotta ask you a technical question, which I really admire what you did, is the editing. When the movie starts and we see Andra singing, the editing has this dreamlike cubist quality to it. You know, can you tell us about how did you arrive to that? And then actually, by the time we get to Strange Day, it's in close-ups, it's a little, you know, more direct. You know, can you tell us that?
I think that if you told Billie Holiday's story in any way less than a fairy tale, it would be too hard to take. You know, so I really wanted to seduce you almost like a heroin experience, a high. I wanted you to be high. I wanted to relax you so that you felt like you were watching a fairy tale even, you know, as you go into this space. So by the time you see the lynchings and by the time you see just like the atrocities that happened to this woman, that, you know, you were seduced into, you were high watching it. So it took the chill off.
Mm-hmm.
It was like having having a glass of champagne and a little Valium, you know, like, let me chill and watch it. You know?
No, and the saturated colors at the beginning was so alluring and beautiful. You're absolutely right. It seduces you, but at the same time you understand that you're sort of in a state of intoxication as well.
Also, you know, to watch two beautiful people, they're physical specimens. Both of them are beautiful people. And so to watch these two beautiful people in these beautiful costumes experiencing this, with this beautiful backdrop, experiencing this ugly story, and yet it's a beautiful story. I really wanted all the accoutrement to add to the story of, because it's pretty dark. It's a dark story.
And a story that needs to be told. The fact that I don't think most people know that the U.S. tormented an artist for simply singing a song, and you know, not enough people know about this.
I'm sorry. I'm going to just say too. It's important to. These are two, I think, Black people, young people, that are really important and devoted to the movement that's happening in America right now. So it was important not only that I cast, this is God working, not only that I cast great actors, but that I cast people that I knew understood the importance of delivering the message once this film was out. And so we have two great spokespeople that really speak about because they lived it. They know what it's like. They know what it's like. They're not privileged at all. They know what it's like, and they're willing to talk the walk.
Mm-hmm. Trevante, your role is really complex, you know, because you begin, you know, almost like the bad guy that tricks her and then falls in love with her. You know, can you tell us about navigating, you know, that journey?
Life is nuanced. I think sometimes you really can't control who you fall in love with. So this situation was terrible. Trying to make a name for yourself and all this stuff. And so it was just a difficult thing for him. And so it was just a fun experience to try and navigate and show the nuance of being a Black man in America.
And I'm a big admirer of Adrienne Lennox, you know, who plays your mother in it. I saw her.
Yes, Shout out Adrienne.
Shout out.
Well, I saw her on Broadway in Doubt, in one of the most remarkable performances I've seen. Can you tell us about working with Adrienne?
Like you said, man, she's just a remarkable performer. She's just present, and that's just all you can ever ask, just to be present and to have that person love you back, really. And that was
Mhm.
that's what she gave me.
That's to me, that's some of his strongest work with Adrian. I think some of it a little bit, because we know he was very comfortable and the chemistry he had locked down with Billie. But the mother is just one of those Black actors that we just don't, she doesn't get it. I'm so, thank you so much, Roger, for giving her love, because I love her so much. And she's just one of those, she's an actor. She's a soldier of God. She's an actor, and she doesn't get the love that she deserves. And I was just so happy that these two, especially Andra, like got a chance to like meet her and work with her, and it was just a beautiful. That was one of the highlights of working with her. She done The Butler for me too.
Yeah.
But
That's right.
I
Yeah.
want to say she actually came, so we didn't even have scenes together, but she actually came and found me before. I don't even remember what scene it is we were filming, but I remember her walking in, and I was nervous, of course, because I always am. But she walked in and she just was like, I'm just so happy for you. And she just grabbed me and grabbed my hands and she was like, let's pray together. And I was like, oh my God, I love this woman. She really is going to be my mother-in-law. I was like, so we didn't even have scenes together, but she just made it a point to touch people on set. She's a real special spirit. She really was, yeah.
Yeah, well, she's extremely talented. Andra, your deterioration is devastating by the time we get to the last scenes in the hospital. Can you tell us about being in the headspace of where Billie is in the last hours of her life?
I mean, I thought I looked great. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Well,
it was, well, actually, yeah, it's definitely a different feeling. Playing someone who's dying, you know what I mean? And that was something that Tasha, my acting coach, who Lee introduced me to, and Lee and I established, is like, there's such a sense of urgency, you know what I mean? Because I truly do believe that though she wasn't necessarily planning for it, I think she had an awareness. I think sometimes people with that type of spirit and that have that type of pull have an awareness of the brevity, how short their life would be. And so there was just such a sense of urgency and finality to everything, and honestly, I had to put my body through it to get there, because I like to be a healthy person and, drink water, exercise and take care of myself. So I had to do the opposite on set, and my body, I felt it when I was smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol. And then, I was not sleeping for days and days on end and lost a lot of weight. And I starved myself definitely on set. So I had to really put my body in that place, so that just the makeup there alone, the makeup was phenomenal and pushed me into the performance a little more. But I think feeling it in my body really helped me to not to really perform it, but to really feel it, and then, what it's like, and to start to think about my family and my friends and those people I care about and how much I have unfinished. If I'm to go right now, who's going to take care of my family and who's going to, so it was definitely, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of preparation and a lot of just staying in really weighty places,
And I do have to ask you and put you on the spot in front of Lee Daniels. What was it like working with Mr. Daniels?
Why you?
Let me get up real quick.
He's like me. He always wait for the ball to drop. Okay, but it's just, there's no ball to drop. Honestly, it is just first of all, is an experience of growth. I always say it was a very paradigm shifting experience for me. And you're just dealing with someone who cares more than anything about authenticity. He cares about Billie Holiday. He cares about Jimmy Fletcher. He cares about his actors, and he cares about telling the story, beautifully, artistically, but also in its truth. And I think, and so that goes to our performances as well too. To me, I don't like when people sugarcoat things, so I need to know what it is. So if I know if I'm giving them what they want. So he's very clear, you know, but he'll give great direction, and he'll also celebrate you equally as much as he'll, you know, make sure you're doing the right things for the performance. So it's, you want somebody who's real and who's authentic like that, because then as an actor, I've done one movie, but okay, as an actor, you know, you want to be confident that when you go home that night, that he's not like, oh God, everything's terrible. And, you know, so you can be confident that when he says he got what he's looking for, he got what he's looking for. And it's amazing. So that's it.
And speaking of shout outs, I have to ask you, Lee, about Susan Laurie Parks, Pulitzer Prize winning playwright who you collaborated with on the screenplay. You know, can you tell us about working with Susan?
She doesn't get enough credit either. She's so dope. She's so dope. She understood the dialect. Like, you know, she had those scenes down where, you know, Black people had to speak a certain way and the words had to be just right. The words were right. The energy was always the same. Black people didn't change we don't change our movements. We don't change you know, what's in our DNA since slavery, how we communicate physically, but the words have been changed over the years. So she's really a stickler for words, and I'm just honored to have worked with her. She's a legend.
Yeah, incredible playwright. I've seen actually a lot of her plays, and I'm a big admirer. But I know that, you know, they're telling me that I only had half hour with you guys, so I have to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm a big fan. You guys need to be congratulated. This is a tremendous work.
Thank you, Roger. And thank you, Roger, because I know how hard you are on films. You are really, so it means a lot coming from you. Thank you very much.
No, it's a really powerful, and Andra and Trevante, terrific performances. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay.